So I'll start with the idea, where the the quickest adoption of electric mobility is happening in India at this point of time, and where we see a delay, and also segment-wise when it comes to two-wheeler, three-wheelers, and four-wheelers. Okay, so what we understand is, to start with, in India, mostly the conversion will be in the commercial sector. So the reason being that, first of all, the capital cost of the vehicles are too high, and because of that, what happens generally, the passenger. So passenger vehicles, the problem is that there are various reasons why people are scared to buy the vehicle in first place. In general, in general. So various reasons might include, first is the high capital cost, then second it be the infrastructure unavailability, then it comes the the thing about various things, does it really make sense to have electric vehicle in terms of overall cost as well, and what about the people are unclear, what is the servicing, what happens to the battery after a few years, will I get something out of this vehicle over time. There's so many reasons why people believe, or they are not very clear about what is happening. So that is the problem. More than anything else, it's them not being clear about what is happening. So why commercial sector? Because so these vehicles, the commercial vehicles that I talk about, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, or four-wheelers, right? So starting from four-wheelers generally, commercial vehicles operate up to 250 to 300, 400 to 500 kilometers sometimes in a day. All right. And because of that, though the capital costs are high, over time they'll be able to make up through the operations by sweating the vehicle more and more. So that is essentially the reason why it will make sense for the commercial vehicles to come in first, and then passenger vehicles later. So when I say that we can operate up to 400, 500 kilometers, I mean that by doing that, basically, so we clearly understand the fuel cost and the cost of charging electric vehicle. There is a huge difference between that. Yes, and because of this huge difference, the operational costs are really low in terms of servicing also. So these reasons actually play a very big part in commercial vehicles being more coming into the market much faster than the passenger vehicles. First thing. Then other things, other okay. So then when it comes to the hurdles that we are facing, when it comes to currently installing charging infrastructure or EV charging station in general, or people accepting EVs in general. So our business is mostly based on people accepting EVs, right? So it is not a direct business. It is a business that is based on people accepting EVs. So and also lot of the time, lot of time people say that charging infrastructure should come first and then the EVs will automatically come. We believe that that is true, but again, as I said, it is a matter of what has to be done. So either of them has to grow for the other to grow. So that is the main idea. So what hurdles we are facing at this point of time when it comes to charging infrastructure is uh, the belief in people. The biggest hurdle is the belief in people. People know about it. People know that this is the thing. People know that this is the future, but they still don't know, is this the right time? Is today the right time? Is 6 months later the right time, or a year later, or 2 years later to invest in this particular business or come into this business overall. So when it comes to, let's say, if we have to approach, let's say a housing society to install EV charging stations. So they say we are sold. We already know that EVs are the future. But then we don't know, is it the right time to do it, to invest in it, or 6 months later, or 1 year later? So timing is a big issue at this point of time. One thing. Second thing is that so the buildings, the available commercial or residential buildings are not ready in terms of the electrical infrastructure. They were designed 10 years ago, or they were designed much before that, and that they were not ready for charging vehicles or electric vehicles on a large scale. So that is one big hurdle, right? So to integrate something like that in already existing buildings in a small scale is okay. One or two chargers at the same is okay, but to have a full scale operation, like every parking space gets a charger, or some sort of charging facility, is a little complicated, because they were not prepared for this. They were not enabled for electric vehicle charging in the past, or they did not plan for electric mobility being acceptable so soon, so quickly. So that is that is one place where we see the issue is when it comes to residential or commercial building charging infra installations. Then coming to commercial installation. So today we see the most take would be in the commercial sector. I told you about that, right? It could be two, three, or four wheelers. So the issues here are mostly, the biggest issue is the space. The space, the unavailability of space to put up the charging infrastructure, or probably even if the space is available, there is no right direction on how to go ahead with that. So it can be, the reason being the electrical infrastructure, it can be the space itself, is it conducive to for charging. So there are many reasons that lead to this problem, where people are still not accepting the fact that okay, EV charging infrastructure should be made, should we invest in it, should a space be given for installing EV charging infrastructure. One thing. Second thing is, again, we also understand that the worry comes from the fact of utilization. How much of this infrastructure will be utilized going forward? So the issue here is that, let's say I am installing a charging station as a business, and then let's say my utilization, or I'm not able to bring utilization on that particular charging station for a very long time. So that is effectively, I'm not getting any returns out of that business. So at this point of time, businesses and people are thinking that, will it be possible to bring utilization on that particular charging station? They are not very sure about it. So one more, that is one of the hurdles. One of the hurdle. Then other than that, it is also the government agencies. So they are not lined. So there are multiple government agencies that are involved when you have to install electric vehicle charging infrastructure, but they're not aligned together. So if you approach a DISCOM, though they have a certain policy under place, they are not very clear what is the process to take it. Sometimes to take a connection like that would take up to 2 months, which is so complicated in some states, not in all the DISCOM, but some of the places it is really complicated. And that being the reason, the whole process is taking much longer than it should take for to bring the infrastructure. Okay, so and again, so as I told you, ideally we should look at a single window clearance for any sort of electrical infrastructure that we install pertaining to electric vehicle charging stations, which is not available at this point of time. So it should not be taking a month or 2 months just to bring it up. So that is the idea.